The story of Mooshaka as Ganesha's vahana. The royal couple Pushtika and Varenya were performing tapasya with the desire of getting children. As soon as a child was born, unfortunately, a demoness took away the child. At the same time, Ganesha was born as a son to Parvati and he was called Dhumra Ketu. As King Varenya was doing tapasya, meditating on Ganesha, Shiva called Nandi and said, Nandi, King Varenya's wife, the queen, is in a state of unconsciousness after childbirth. The child she has given birth to has been taken away from her by a demoness. You take the son of Parvati and place the child beside her on her bed. Nandi obeyed the Lord. He lifted Ganesha and carried him to the king's place at the speed of wind. All the hurdles on the way were overcome just by praying to Lord Shiva. He entered Queen Pushtike's room and placed Ganesha beside her. He came back and gave the news of what he had done to Parvati Devi. Shiva and Parvati were happy and blessed Nandi. When the queen regained consciousness, she turned to see her child. She saw a strange child whose body was blood red, who had the head of an elephant, a long trunk, huge ears, a big belly, and little limbs. He had the Kasturi Tilakam on his forehead. His body was smeared with sandal paste. He was dressed in yellow silk cloth and wore necklaces of pearls and precious stones. The queen was frightened to even look at the strange child. She got up from bed and ran out. All those who came on hearing about the birth of a strange child got frightened to see it. Some of them fainted when they looked at the strange figure. The king sent for astrologers and asked them what should be done with the child. The royal astrologer said, We have neither seen or heard about the birth of a strange child like this in the human race. We do not think that such an event will ever happen in future. This child should not be kept either in the palace or in the city. The king, his ministers, and others gathered there agreed with the astrologers. The king called a trustworthy servant and said, Carry this child to a thick jungle, leave it there, and come back. The servant carried the child to a thick jungle. In the middle of it, there was a big pond of water. He thought, There is no chance of a human entering the forest. A lot of wild animals will come here to drink water. Thus, he placed the child under a tree and left the palace. He reached the capital and reported to the king that he had done. He said, Your Majesty, as you ordered me, I took the child to the middle of a thick jungle and left it there under a tree near a pond. Some wild animal might carry it away and make a meal of that child. The righteous king sat with his head downcast. He was really sad. A fox happened to see the child as it lay in the middle of the dense forest at the edge of the pond, shaking its limbs in air. The fox was happy, thinking that it would have a sumptuous meal that day. It began to approach the child slowly. At the very same time, sage Parashara chanced to pass that way. He saw the child moving its limbs, looking absolutely divine. He was surprised at first. He thought how such a cute child could be found in the middle of that thick jungle. He has a doubt whether Devendra had hatched a plot to distract him from his tapasya. Being righteous by nature, he used to be frightened even to think of sins. He had not committed a single sinful act consciously until then. He folded his hands and prayed to God to protect him. Sage Parashara went into deep meditation and came to know who the child was. He was supremely happy to know that it was a divine child. He said to himself, Today I have fulfilled the mission of my birth. I have been granted the fruit of all my vratas. It is not only me but my parents, relatives, and friends who have been blessed. Even the place where the child is lying, the sky, the blowing wind, this jungle, this lake, and everything around this place is blessed. Who could have done this act of cruelty? He must be hard hearted. So saying, he lifted the child and carried it to his holy ashram. When his wife Vatsala Devi saw the divine child, she was very happy. She took the child in her arms and kissed it. Parashara's ashrama, which had already been made holy by Ganesha's presence, now shone brighter than ever. The trees seemed like the divine Kalpavriksha, while the cows appeared like the heavenly Kamadhenu. King Varenya came to know that the child he had cast away was growing in the ashrama of sage Parashara, and he was happy. He began to give things in charity so that the child would be blessed by God. Once the chief among Devas, Devendra, was holding his council, there was one by name Krauncha, who was not observing dignified behavior in the court. Before the court could end, he was in a hurry to go out. While walking out, his foot touched sage Vamadeva. The devas and sages who were observing his strange behavior got angry. Sage Vamadeva, in an angry mood, cursed him, saying, "You are impatient like a rat. Therefore, may you become a rat." Gandharva Krauncha cursed again. This Krauncha was once wandering about the ashram of sage Saubhari on the slopes of Mount Sumera. Sage Saubhari went into the forest to collect samhita. His wife Manomai was engrossed in household work. She was an exquisitely beautiful woman. Krauncha had been walking about aimlessly. Now his eyes fell on her. Without thinking about the consequences of the action, he rushed into the ashram, held Manomai by her hand, and began to drag her out. Manomai screamed loudly. By then, Sage Saubhari reached the ashram, and when he saw what was happening, he was very angry. His eyes began to emit fire. He, he cursed Gandharva, saying, "You wicked fellow, you entered the ashram like a thief and have behaved in the most disgraceful manner. May you become a rat, move out about the earth stealthily, live like a thief, and protect yourself thus." Wisdom dawned on Krauncha as he trembled and fell at the feet of the sage and implored, "O great sage, be kind to me. I lost my sense and committed this unpardonable sin. I have only touched your wife's hand. Please pardon me for it." The sage said, "My curse will not go waste. In Dwapara Yuga, Ganesha will be born as sage Parashara's son, and you will become his vehicle. You will then be respected by all the devas." As a result of these two curses, Krauncha fell on the ground with a third near the ashrama of sage Parashara as a big rat. It was as big as a mountain. Its hair and nails were long and sharp like peaks of mountains. Its teeth were frighteningly long and pointed. The rat began to cause havoc in the ashrama of sage Parashara. It broke earthen vessels and ate all food contained in them. It reduced the sage's clothes into rags. It ate up his books. As the rat was huge, the lashes from its tail toppled the trees around. Gardens were destroyed. Parashara became sad when he saw all useful things in the ashrama getting destroyed. He found it difficult to tolerate the rat and live there. But where could he go? Where could he find a place where he could sit in peace and perform tapasya, bhajans, and prayer? What was the sin which had caused this trouble and destroyed the peace and comfort of ashrama? How could he save himself from this calamity? Whom could he seek help from? When Ganesha heard the sage's desperate words, he tried to console the sage, and in a pleasing voice he said, "Father, why are you so desperate? I am here to destroy the wicked. Do not worry about anything as long as I am here. As your son, I am ready to do anything that would please you. When I roar, the earth will crack. My footsteps would destroy huge mountains. See what I am going to do now. I am going to make this rat my vehicle." Parashara was happy. Immediately Ganesha threw his pasha, the rope, at the demon like rat. Due to the brightness of the pasha, a bright white light spread itself all over space. Even the devas were taken back. For a moment, emitting sparks of fire and spreading a blaze, the divine weapon went round and round, caught the demon like rat by its neck, and began to pull it out of its huge hole. The huge beast got a shock, and it was no match to Ganesha's pasha. It fainted due to fear and sorrow at its own helplessness. A few moments later, it regained consciousness. Sighing deeply, it wondered, "Where did this divine pasha came from and tie me down? I could break mountains with my sharp teeth. I never used to take cognizance of devas asuras and rakshasa, let alone the silly humans. Who is this strong person who has tied me down and is pulling me? We are children of fate. Whatever is destined to happen will happen. As it was thinking thus, the Pasha pulled the rat out of its hole and dumped it at the feet of Ganesha. When it saw the figure of Ganesha, its arrogance melted and it came to its senses. It placed its head on Ganesha's feet and said, Bhagwan, pardon me, show mercy on me. Ganesha said, O Mooshaka, you have troubled the Devas and Brahmins a little too much. But now, as you have come to me seeking refuge, I shall pardon you. Ask for a boon, I will grant it. The rat's pride surfaced again and it said, I do not need anything from you. If you like, ask a boon for yourself and I will grant it. Ganesha smiled and said, That's fine. Be my vehicle. Now the rat had to keep its word and it agreed to be Ganesha's vehicle. Immediately Ganesha sat on it. The mountain sized rat could not bear its weight and it screamed. It thought that its bones would be crushed and its entire body would be reduced to a lump of flesh. With great difficulty and in great fear, the rat said, Hey Bhagwan, kindly pardon my mistakes. I do not have the strength to carry you. Please become lighter. Ganesha then became lighter so that the rat could carry him. Sage Parashara was struck with wonder. He said, What a wonder! How could he catch the rat which tore mountains to pieces with its roar so easily and make it its vehicle? I am really blessed for having got him as my son. He blessed Ganesha heartily. Mother Vatsala took Ganesha on her lap, showered on him 1,000 kisses, and said, I do not know your real worth and your exploits, but one thing is certain you are born as my son as a result of the punya which I have earned over several births. Later, Ganesha killed a wicked demon called Sindhasura and saved the world from the troubles he used to cause and brought back comfort. The story of Chandra, the moon cursed. Once Ganesha was traveling, sitting on his vehicle, Mooshaka. Chandra saw him and laughed loudly. Yes, Ganesha looked odd. He had the head of an elephant, a big belly, a big snake tied around his stomach, short hands and legs, his vehicle a small rat. What a strange figure, said Chandra and laughed loudly. No doubt Chandra was handsome, but to think that there's no one equal to you, to be proud of oneself is not desirable. To laugh at others, to look down upon others, or to hurt someone's feelings, all these are big mistakes. Ganesha became angry at Chandra's arrogance. He said, Chandra, you are too proud of your beauty. That may be right. You think low of others, and that is not right, especially for one occupying an exalted position as you do. You must be punished for it. On this day, may you be unworthy of being looked at by anyone. May the ones who look at you become sinners. Chandra lost his luster as a result of Ganesha's curse. Even the Devas became worried. They came to Ganesha along with Chandra and begged pardon of him. Chandra begged Ganesha to pardon him for his arrogant behavior. Ganesha said, Let Chandra remain unseen for a year, 6 months, and 3 months. The Devas begged Ganesha to relent further. Then Ganesha said, Anyone who looks at Chandra knowingly or unknowingly on the fourth day of the brighter half of the month of Bhadrapada will be put to trouble. But those who perform a vrata on the fourth day of the darker half of every month should certainly see you on that day. If they do not see Chandra on that day, their vrata will remain incomplete and they would not get the desired fruit. Ganesha as the writer of the Mahabharata. Brahmarshi Vyasa, son of sage Parashara, who composed the Mahabharata, which is considered to be the fifth Veda, was wondering how to teach the holy epic to his disciples and make it popular among the people of the world. When Brahmadeva came to know about it, he came to the former's ashram in order to console him and for the good of the world. Vyasa, who was pleasantly surprised to see the originator of the Veda, Lord Brahma, in his ashrama, stood up. he prostrated before the Lord, offered him a holy seat, and paid his respect to the great Guru. Then, with hands folded, he stood before him. Vyasa was supremely happy at the darshan of the Lord. On being instructed by the Lord, Vyasa sat on a seat and said with great humility, Bhagwan, I have composed an epic which would be sacred in all the three worlds. I have tried to put it in the essence of the Vedas and other holy books on Shastras. Not just that, one can find the epitomized form of Vedangas and Upanishads in it. It also contains everything useful to human life along with detailed descriptions and explanations. But I have a problem. I have it in my mind and I am looking for a scribe who can write it down as I recite it. So far, I have not found one. Bhagwan Brahmadeva praised the work composed by Vedavyasa and said, O great sage, think of Lord Ganesha for writing it down. So saying, Brahmadeva vanished. Then the sage prayed to Ganesha in his heart. No sooner did the sage do so than Ganesha appeared before him. The sage welcomed Ganesha with all love, respect, and devotion. Ganesha then sat on a holy seat and Vedvyasa spoke with great reverence. Gananayaka, I would like you to become the scribe of the great epic, the Mahabharata. I have composed the epic completely in my mind. While I narrate it, you have to go on writing it down. On hearing the sage, Ganesha said, O holy sage, you have to go on dictating in such a way that my pen should not stop. Only on that condition I shall agree to become the scribe. Vedavyasa said, So be it, but when you write, you should understand everything in it. Nothing should be written without understanding. Ganesha, who was wisdom incarnate, agreed to do so and the work began. As a result of Ganesha's blessings, the world has got an invaluable gift, the great epic Mahabharata. And that's the magical journey of Ganesha, from his divine birth to becoming the wise writer of the Mahabharata. Lord Ganesha teaches us that with courage, kindness, and a sharp mind, we can overcome any challenge. May we all be blessed with his wisdom and strength. Jai Ganesha.